I am a huge fan of film noir. Those movies from like the 30s and 40s are awesome. Because like unlike most mainstream movies, they take place. They examine like the darker side of human life. Like you get movies like Gilda, the lady from Shanghai, The Big Sleep, Key Largo, a couple of Humphrey Bogart films, uh, Maltese Falcon, and like just any film of that of that genre. All those take like I say, they take place in like a seedy underbelly where like nothing is as it seems. Like nobody is trustworthy. Not even like the main character, who's usually the private detective. Who's like who like who drinks a lot, is down on his luck, and like he gets involved in like shady business dealings. Just to keep up with their finances. One thing that most of these film noirs have in common is the femme fatale. Like the femme fatale, like the main character usually gets romantically involved with a femme fatale, but like most of the characters in film noirs, even the femme fatale character is morally ambiguous. Like at one point fall in love with her, and at the other point you can't trust her because she's like she's dangerous, at the same time, and like she has like a hidden agenda up her sleeve. It's like the film noir genre like expanded throughout the years after like the 40s and 50s. In like the term neo-noir was invented. Neo-noir, revolves around is like means like film noir that set during like modern times, like a modernization of the film noir genre. So like 70s, you get movies like Taxi Driver, Chinatown, and The Long Goodbye, Robert Altman film. And the 80s, you get like movies like Body Heat, you know, uh, the Coen Brothers is Blood Simple, Ridley Scott's Blade Runner, that's a good example. And like 90s, you get movies like a couple John Dahl movies like Red Rock West, The Last Seduction. Dark City is a good example of neo noir, and L.A. Confidential, directed by Curtis Hanson, the guy who directed Bad Influence and The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Two other good movies. And like during the 2000s, there's movies like Mulholland Drive and a movie called Femme Fatale, directed by Brian De Palma and starring Rebecca Romaine. She's pretty hot in it. And there's just, I could go on, but this is a major example of a neo noir film from the 90s. Basic Instinct is a cult classic, from 1992. It is excellent, very sexually explicit, and Sharon Stone, of course, her iconic leg crossing scene. I'm not going to get into further detail, but the funny thing about this is that this is the second time that director Paul Verhoeven, who directed this film, casts Sharon Stone as a villainess. Like 2 years before this film, she casted her as the main villainess in Total Recall, the Arnold Schwarzenegger film. And she was in this film. She's more morally ambiguous, but in like Total Recall, she's basically a villain. Period. Like there's not much redeeming qualities to her in Total Recall, but you can't help but although she's very much kind of evil in this movie, you can't help but like you know fall in love with her because like and that's exactly the fatal flaw of Michael Douglas's character. She I mean he gets involved with her and like his sense of morality is like compromised. Well, he's he was like a tough guy before getting involved with her, but his world begins to shatter afterwards. But this, like I said, this is a really good cult classic. It got mixed reviews, but because of its sexually explicit content. But this this film is hard to pass up. Like this, and it actually does have a pretty good soundtrack, but there's only like a couple songs in the movie. I mean, like there is like one Chris Ray song, Chris Ray, that British singer that I like. But one particular musician who made the film famous, well, when the trailer came out, was this musician. LaTour, his single "Blue" was what appeared on the trailer for Basic Instinct, and it appears in the movie. It appears like in like a scene in a club, like. But unfortunately, this the single does not appear on this album. It appears on like the very first album, which is actually the final track of the of that album. But LaTour is a fairly recognizable musician. Like he's a cross between like industrial, electronica, dance kind of. I kind of like that stuff. Like he's like a very he's kind of. I mean, he's only like released like 3 albums, but this particular album is actually pretty interesting. It's like the only one of his albums that I have so far because honestly, this movie is actually how I came across this musician, how I came across LaTour because like I found this album at Tech Noir Records, and this particular album, Home on the Range, is actually pretty awesome. You know, all the songs on it are much different than the than the other. Like track 4, "The Cure Is Found," has like a very unique like 80s new wave feel to it, kind of like similar to like Pet Shop Boys and Thompson Twins, mixed with like Erasure and Yazoo, kind of. That's good shit. And track 5, "Keep Your Eye on the Quiet One," that's actually, I love that this one song because like it kind of like the sound to it actually reminds me of like earlier Curve, kind of, particularly like their debut album Doppelganger. It has like that kind of sound, very similar to that album. But and like track 6, "Don't Jump," it has like a really Propeller Heads, kind of feel to it, kind of like something you would hear in like The Matrix. It's like, I you might see me as like if you know me, you might see me as just like a total death metal fan. But I mean, like I said, I do like death metal, but I also like to expand my horizons, and like I love electronica, and this is like a good electronica musician, and like I love, the entire album on this is awesome. The entire, you know, I am going to find like the other 2 albums that he's made, but like I said, he's only made like 3 albums. I think he's made a couple like EPs, but that I'm pretty sure you can't find those anywhere else. This album was released from Smash Records in 1993, which was a year when after this came out, and so well the film, not the album, and so like if you are into like that new wave stuff, like 80, a mix between 80s new wave and synth pop, like the bands I mentioned, Thompson Twins and Pet Shop Boys and like the other stuff I mentioned, mixed with a little bit of like Chemical Brothers and Lords of Acid and like any like industrial band that I've mentioned in previous videos. If you were into that shit, and if you find this at your local record shop or a thrift store, I would pick this one up. Or you can look them up on Discogs, or you can just like Spotify them and like him, and just like give it a listen and see what you think. If you want, if you like it so much, maybe I would personally recommend buying the album after you listen to it, because chances are Spotify may no longer have it. But I would get this if you find it. Like I said, if you find it at your local shop, pick it up and see what you think. LaTour, his album "Home on the Range" from Smash Records. Thanks for watching.